Hi, welcome to week 5 of City Vision University's Social Entrepreneurship course. This week is about customer channels and customer relationships. So just as a reminder, we're going through this business model canvas revision process, and it's kind of the Jewish way of thinking that things are cyclical and, they might move in a direction in the long term, but you're going to keep rehashing over things. And, as you go through these workbooks, we're trying to get you to go from, a 10% chance of success to a much higher chance of success. So as you do that, we're also wanting you to be thinking about, at the end of last week, what you did is you did interviews, and hopefully you designed a diagram where you summarize your MVP, you collected some data, and then you think about pivots, and then you have your next round of your MVP. Often I will show, and there's actually a example that we use in the course of how City Vision did this. I'll go around and then I'll say what my next product would be, and then what I learned on the next round, and then I'll do the next round of pivots, and I'll show 3 or 4 rounds of pivots. Now, this week, where we're doing the deep dive really is on channels and customer relationships. And there's this diagram that Steve Blank generated where he talks about get customers, keep customers, and grow customers. And most of marketing, honestly, to date, has focused on the get customers. So you acquire and you activate. Sometimes you can have a viral loop early on. That's where you click on something and they say invite all your friends before you even try to use the app. But with nonprofits, especially with donors, the keep customers is important, and the referrals. And let me just cover what these things mean. Upselling for a donor would be to move a one-time donor to a regular donor, and a regular donor to a major donor. And then a next sell, you might be, you have a donor and you invite them to an event, and they also give at your charity auction. And cross sell, this is more applicable and for something like City Vision, where someone might take take one course or take one program, and then they decide to take another program, and referrals. So the focus on this section is really on customer relationships and channels. And you'll see in here, we've put the words keep and grow, and get. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that might look like using City Vision as an example. And so this is City Vision's business model canvas. And so, as I mentioned, we have 3 main segments that we have to think about. So, in business terms, it's B2C, that's students. So there's leads through our website, and in technical terms, organic SEO, email. We have a website, City Vision Institute, social, YouTube, and paid advertising. Going to conferences, partner organizations, and word of mouth. And then we get leads from partners through lists. We have national networks. Then we get referrals from students, and then we get donors from various sources. Now, with customer relationships, so we have an admissions customer relationship management system. We have an enrollment management funnel that we use. So it goes from a lead form on the website. Nancy calls them. And then, we have student services. And we like to see students who start off as individual students who are at an organization. And if they're served well, we've had some organizations send us 40 students. So that's our primary engine of growth. And that gets into here on partnerships. Now, this is a tricky part, because in the model before, I showed only keep and grow. But the question is, do you use customer relationship? Do you put get up here? Well, you put get here if this is an individual based, more like a sales process. So if it's a major donor officer and they're out seeking other major donors, then that could be a get. If someone's going to go straight into being a major donor. and so for us, for our partners, I think last year I had 110 or 120 meetings with partners. Um, and so a lot of those, weren't partners yet. So that's get. Then we have some sort of MOU or informal agreement, and then keep. We have ongoing meetings, and then grow is increasing the number of organization of students, in our overall funnel. Um, so that's for city vision. You can see a similar, breakdown for, a rescue mission. This might be more typical for regular. So you have direct mail, digital, events, volunteers. All of these can be sources of donors. You might get some from alumni, advisory board and staff. And then you get churches and donors from other programs. And then you have sources for new clients. And then, with donors, you're going to have a donor management system, and you're going to have client tracking system. So what we want you to do is, for your specific initiative, to focus on, how are you going to do, develop these components for your organization. Now, in some cases, you may have the same donors. In some cases, you might have to get new grants. So that's something that you'll have to consider. Now, one of the exercises we're going to have you do is we're going to have you create a marketing funnel. Now, one thing that's important to think about on the marketing funnel is that you have, stage analysis. Now, once someone becomes, to your desired level, so at a rescue mission, this might be in your recovery program. So you might consider them still in your marketing funnel while they're at your shelter, but once they become in your recovery program, that becomes more of a retention issue. It's not a marketing issue. You could list them here if you want, but a lot of this, you can think about it with donors. If you think about it with donors, you might have, people who go to volunteer with you, and then that's in stage one, or they have come visit the mission, or they, were at a church where you gave a talk. And then stage two, and maybe you got their contact information. So that basically it's a lead stage, right? And then stage two is someone comes and visits your mission. And stage three, you might have, they've given once, and then stage four, they've joined your, regular giving campaign. And then you could have a stage 5 for major donors or something along those lines. So hopefully this is helpful. If you have questions, then ask your faculty, and there's going to be, the next presentation is going to be providing more details of how to go through this week's worksheet. Thanks a lot.